Hello, this is Christina and this is Little Ladybug. And today we are going to discuss how to carve a pumpkin, aren't we? So Little Ladybug carved her first pumpkin when she was a baby. And so now it's time to teach our baby how to do it. Now a lot of the steps are grown up. There are some things that grown-ups need to do and some things that little ones can help you with. My background is I'm originally from America. I've carved probably over 50 pumpkins in my lifetime, 30 years of experience. So there's a couple of things that I've been taught from my parents that I've learned along the way. So I'm going to give you a couple of kind of tips. The first thing...
Tell us, I'm bigger now.
You're bigger now, so now you get to help more carve and do things more, don't you? So the first tip is to pumpkin. So when you're picking it up at the pumpkin patch or grocery store, make sure you put it on a flat surface to make sure that it will sit properly. Kind of give it a little idea, turn it around, see if there's a side that you think you're going to be carving. Just give it kind of a visual inspection. The other thing is to look for pumpkins is to make sure you look at the right here. I think it's called the blossom, and I'm not positive. I think it's for the blossom. Just make sure it's nice and hard. If it is soft at all, it means the pumpkin is already starting to mold from the inside. So make sure that's nice and hard. Just give it a kind of a visual look at it. Make sure there's no already cuts into it, because that will become kind of a soft spot and we'll start molding, etc. Okay, so you got your beautiful pumpkin, it's time to carve it. The first step is obviously to cut it open. There is two options. Do apologize for little baby, little bumblebee boy is over there playing, so I do sorry about the background noise.
You cut on the top.
Yes?
I want to cut the top.
You want to cut the top off. So, cutting the top requires an adult. I tend to cut the top. The way I learned how to cut the top is basically create triangles at the top. So you basically make a zigzag along the top of the pumpkin, cutting down into it. This way now, that way then the top always fits perfectly in. You can do it in a circle, you can do it in a circuit method. That's totally acceptable. But I kind of like it so that I know exactly so that the top will line up correctly. Okay, so it's time to start. So you basically puncture into the pumpkin at an angle, then puncture it again, meeting it again. So this is definitely the adult part of cutting the pumpkin. It doesn't take very long. It just zigzags back and forth. Now you want, of course, to make sure that you cut fairly opening big enough so you can get your hand in, and little ones can get their hands out to scoop out. But not so much that you're going to give yourself not a lot of area to carve in front of the pumpkin. So we've basically created a nice kind of star shape on the top of the pumpkin. This is it's creating diagonal cuts all the way around. You may need a little bit to extend a little bit of the cuts if it doesn't pop out right away. But before we are going to open up the pumpkin, I'm going to show you some tools. So for children, there's lots of wonderful carving kits now. Obviously, cutting into the pumpkin requires an adult knife. You can use some of these other tools. They're just a little bit, it's easier to do this part with a normal knife. But these are all kind of these are carving children's tools for children. So as you can see, they're not sharp, they're not going to hurt, and then you have some nice plastic scoop set for them. I picked up this from...
I only have that one, and the almost scoop.
Scoop, scoop, scoop. This one is just from Poundland, and this one actually comes with some shapes. So we'll probably use that today to kind of create some indenting into the pumpkin and to make our pumpkin face. So, time to open it up.
I want to get your hug.
Oh, thank you. So time to open it up. So I'm actually going to use some of the children's tools, and you just need to pop it open. Now it does take a little bit. There's a few. You have to kind of make sure that you've gotten all the points cut properly. So you just kind of move around the pumpkin until you get enough. And there's all the pumpkin guts. There we go. All the pumpkin guts. So now it's time to just start scooping it out. Yep. So we're going to leave you for a few minutes while we work on, so I just simply cut off the pumpkin guts off the top. Now we're going to leave you for a few minutes while we clean out the pumpkin. Now, what I would advise is don't rinse out the pumpkin. If you need to, if you want to wipe out you can wipe it with a paper towel. I suggest you do not put water in the pumpkin. The idea is that once
you can't put water in the pumpkin.
No, I don't think so. Because once you have opened the pumpkin, you're now going to let bacteria and moisture into the pumpkin. So by actually washing out the pumpkin, you're probably going to end up having a pumpkin that's going to mold pretty quickly. So we'll see you in a little bit. We're going to go ahead and scoop this out, and then we will talk about the second option of cutting the bottom out, and I'll show you why we're going to do that. And then we will look at carving the front of the pumpkin. So thank you. See you later. Okay, so now we have scooped it all out. We've got all the pumpkin guts out. So now it's time to decorate. Now, or to carve the pumpkin. Now, you can obviously, there's lots of different options for carving pumpkins. Some suggestions is to take a piece of paper, draw a design on a piece of paper. You can then put it on, tape it onto the front of the pumpkin, and then just you can punch little holes or just start cutting the shapes out. The other thing is just to have the child draw what they would like on the pumpkin.
I want to draw.
Yeah. So you draw the eyes, the nose, and then you can carve it out. There's one eye. So we're just using a washable marker. That's your two eyes. So we're using a washable marker, so that way then we can kind of...
I get the mouth.
Pretty mouth.
He makes happy.
Makes happy. You have to make it a big shape. Can you make it a big smile? Put some teeth on. Gone ahead and cut out the mouth. So the next step is to make sure that you create a really nice open hole for the shapes. So this is a step that children can do.
My castle's really I didn't need to walk around.
You're putting your knives into the top. Yes.
Yep.
Making a castle.
Yep. But it does have two little bits of comes in it.
Yes. Okay, so the next step is just to make sure that you give the opening.
I got a big. Yeah, I got a big one.
A big one. Okay. My suggestion is make sure that you keep the orange of the pumpkin intact, but really carve out all the inside, the membrane inside of the pumpkin.
Hey, you got me.
I got you. You got some pumpkin on you. I know. So just give it a nice good clean out. Make sure that you got all the corners and everything. And then you're all ready to clean it out, wipe it out. Remember, don't rinse it with water. It will cause mold. Suggested,
you can't rinse it with water. No, it'll grow mold.
It'll grow mold. It is suggested you store pumpkins on like cardboard, wood, not on laminate or something like cement. You need to make sure there's like airflow underneath. Make sure it's a material that's porous, because it will, once you've carved it, it will start the process of rotting. So it is suggested don't put it on cement or laminated. Put it on a piece of cardboard. If you want to put it on your table, great. But always put some cardboard.
But you can't put milk in it.
No milk in it either.
And you can't put apple juice in it.
No apple juice.
And no tea in it.
No tea. No.
And no coffee.
No coffee. Okay, I think they got the point.
And no water.
No water. Don't fill it with water. You can.
Water will go really bad.
It'll go moldy. Before we talked about, you can cut out the bottom of the pumpkin instead of the top. If you do the bottom, then what you can do is you can put the base on, put base down, put your tea light or your battery operated tea light, which I highly recommend. They're only £1. You can get 4 of them at Poundland or dollar stores. You can get them everywhere now. So you actually can turn on your light your candle, and then you just simply put the pumpkin on top of the base. And so that allows you also, you can carve all the way up to the stem. So that is an option. This one we went to the traditional way of cutting from the top.
I got a peanut.
A little bit of pumpkin. So we will continue carving this, and we will hopefully take some photos of our relax. Oh no, my pumpkin! But thank you for joining us today. I hope it hasn't been too confusing and too crazy.
I got another pea. I got 2 peas.
And we want to say Happy Halloween!
Happy Halloween! Bye!
Bye!